Hi friends, Dr. Kevin Agarth here. This is Marriage Partners Ministries. I want to share with you some great information today that you'll find revealing, you'll find interesting, and enthusiasm that will encourage you to work on your marriage to have an awesome marriage full of love and passion. So guys, I just want to share with you something here. I got an email, and it was very, very short, so I don't have any background information. But the email says that my husband calls me controlling. What do you recommend? And I'm like, whoa, that's it? That's all the information I have to work with. Could go a million directions with this. Are you controlling? Are you not controlling? Let me just start off with this. If if a spouse at all, husband or wife, is making a complaint, I want you to take that complaint very seriously. Now, it's important that we deliver a complaint as not a judgment, not a criticism. And there's a fine line between a criticism and a complaint. We don't want to be delivering it as an emotional outburst. But it's very important, and I'm an advocate of complaining in marriage. If something is making you have a negative emotional reaction, I want you to bring that to your spouse's awareness. And we can call that a complaint, if you will. They need to be aware of it. See, if your spouse continues to do things to you that cause you to have a negative emotional reaction, that's going to destroy romantic love. And so as being a responsible individual in a marriage, it's very important I let my spouse know the effect that I'm having internally with regard to a particular behavior that they're doing. You see, some people say, well, I don't want to bring it up because, it's something negative or whatever. I just want to kind of let it go. And meanwhile, and those who do, meanwhile, the resentment's growing in them and romantic love is dying in them. And their spouse has no idea it's even happening. They have no idea because you're not putting it out on the table. Now, you can do it very respectfully, very considerately. You don't have to be mean or rude. But I recommend that you don't sugarcoat it either. Don't say, well, that's okay. You probably didn't mean that. That's okay. It's no big deal. Because when you put a complaint out, and then you back away from it, it's communicating to your spouse that it's not that big of a deal, like I just said. When you say, well, maybe it's just me, what you're communicating is, it's just me. You don't have to change anything, right? And so when you sugarcoat it like that, and then later on you come back and say, well, I was trying to tell you that I was having this bad reaction. I was trying to tell you, but you didn't do anything about it. So it's really important that we take a complaint, we put it out there, plain and clear, so our spouse knows that that particular behavior, particular circumstance is creating a negative emotional reaction within us. Okay? Now, they're armed with all the information that they need to know. So when a person says, you're controlling, well, you could say that in a very tender, very gingerly, very compassionate, very loving sort of way, and it would be fairly well received. A person could begin to go to work on behaviors they have that might be kind of controlling. Or you could deliver it very aggressively, forcefully, critically. You could have your eyebrows kind of furrowed when you say it and look like you're ready for a fight. And what's going to happen then? It'll be ill-received. They'll probably become defensive. And you won't be entering a stage of problem solving. You won't be entering a stage of thoughtfulness. You'll be entering a stage of conflict or combativeness. Now, sometimes when a spouse says that you're controlling, actually that person sometimes is not controlling. Sometimes the spouse that's saying it just wants to have very independent behavior. They don't want to have thoughtful behavior to how it's impacting their spouse. Sometimes they just want to go do their own thing, they want to make their own plans, and they want to have this totally independent lifestyle. And in marriage, it just doesn't work. And by the way, men are very prone to that. It's the way that most men's brains are wired, to be fairly independent, to be decisive, to make decisions. And the thing that works best in marriage is interdependent, not codependent, not dependent, but interdependent behavior, interdependent decision making, interdependent lifestyles. I should probably do a whole nother video on interdependent versus dependent or codependent, because it's a very important concept to get a hold of in marriage. So this whole idea of controlling, maybe a person is controlling, maybe they're not, but I can tell you this. It all comes down to marital decision making. If you're making independent decisions, it's a love unwinder. Our home DVD study course covers love unwinders, and they'll teach you how powerfully negative those things are in marriage, and how they destroy romantic love so quickly. It's really important to get that connection. Independent behavior, being critical, love unwinders, what does that equal? That equals destroying romantic love. Well, what does that equal? Well, that equals the very reason why people got married in the first place. The very reason, the condition that they made the commitment is because they were in love. And if you take away that love, the reason for the commitment, the reason for the marriage, all that will be gone. And so it's really important to understand love unwinders and how they impact marriage. The other part of marital decision making is that if you disagree on a subject, sometimes people, they don't want to get their spouse involved on a decision because they already know their spouse won't agree. They already know that their spouse won't be on board, so they just go do it themselves. And that's a red flag for everybody. If you do that, it's a red flag that you are not skilled in marital negotiation. We have a course here called Marital Negotiation. It will teach you how to arrive at win-win outcomes. So if your spouse doesn't want you to do something, don't just go do it anyways. Begin the marital negotiation process, and you will arrive at an outcome that you can both live with, a win-win outcome. And by the way, the process of coming to that end decision, it's very linear. We show you step by step. The process itself is peaceful, it's calm, it's not combative, it's not a fight, it's not an argument, it's not you trying to be more persuasive and intellectually challenging. A lot of people mistakenly think, because they hear the word negotiation, they mistakenly think it's an intellectual combat. It's not. It's not combat at all. It's not whoever's intellectually smarter is going to win the negotiation. No, in business that might be the case. In marriage, it's not. That's why we call it marital negotiation. That's why we don't just simply call it negotiation. It's marital negotiation. The process sustains romantic love, and the end outcome that you come to will sustain romantic love in your marriage. Now, there's a lot of type A personalities out there. They're go-getters. They like to get things done. They like to be decisive. They like to do things. They like to make decisions. And if their spouse has a different perspective than they do, they like to just get going. They kind of push their spouse aside. They're going to have independent behavior. Maybe let's do the anarchy strategy of solving conflict. We go over the different styles in the course. Anarchy, they're just going to do their own thing. They leave their spouse to go do their own thing. And this, of course, creates a tremendous emotional separation in marriage. It destroys intimacy and it destroys compatibility. But it doesn't happen the first time. It doesn't happen the second or third time. It happens over a period of time. Over a period of time, people just find themselves like they're not even in love anymore. And they wonder, what's this mystery of love? We just fell out of it. How could that happen? It happens if you don't have the skill set of marital negotiation. And so I would suspect that with this particular emailer that's talking about being controlling, there might be some truth to it. There might not be some truth to it. I think the number one, if I was going to say which course would be the best for you, I would say the marital negotiation course will be the very best for you. It will teach you how to come to mutual agreements, win-win outcomes. And it's not you controlling your spouse, that's not your spouse controlling you. And knowing how to do that and still being able to win in life. I don't mean win against your spouse where there's a win-lose outcome. I mean win in life. When you and your spouse together win, a win-win outcome, that's the definition of winning in life. And I want that for you. I don't want you to win against your spouse and end up in a divorce and broken finances and broken marriage and your children having step parents. That's not a win in life. I want you to have a win in life where you and your spouse are coming to win-win agreements and you guys are sustaining romantic love. You're keeping an intact family and intact finances and you are parenting your own children. That's a win, and I want that for you. I love you, friends. Share this video, if you would, please, with some of your friends. Remember, what you make happen for others, God Almighty will make happen for you. Thank you.